Welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter, one conversation at a time. My name's Steve Taylor, and we can't wait to get this episode started. Welcome to episode 48 of the Good News Bay podcast. We are doing something a little bit different today. I'm actually going to get to interview one of our Bay District School principals. We have Blythe Carpenter with us today. I'm gonna have to play a little bit with last names, okay? Because we know that you are known to your students as Blythe Carpenter. But I actually officiated a wedding, and you were married to Ty Thompson and have taken his last name, but we will make that, I guess, the official name that Principal Carpenter goes by in the fall, right?
That is correct.
All right. But now, that being said, you were born in Columbus, Ohio, which people may not know. Moved here when you were 6. You were a Cove girl. Can I describe you that way?
Absolutely.
All right. You attended Cherry Street, 80 Harris. I'm an 80 Harris guy from back in the day, 6th grade center. You went to Rosenwall Middle School and Bay High School. You played softball at Gulf Coast State College. We were talking about that a little bit. You were the last year they played slow pitch.
That's correct.
At Gulf Coast.
Yes.
You were a shortstop a good bit of the time, some second base. Definitely right. Shortstop at Bay, right?
Shortstop at Bay all 4 years. I played some second base at the college level, and then did a little bit of catching as well.
She's an athlete, y'all. They put athletes at shortstop. You also have a background as a police officer for about a year and a half for the Panama City Police Department.
I do, yes.
This somehow came to me as a surprise, but it's not a shock, if that makes any sense. You can handle crowd control as needed. You got 2 daughters, Tressa and Braylon. Tressa, I know you're proud of her. She's living out in Dallas, doing well now.
She is. She's doing fantastic, doing some marketing work and small business, learning the marketing and business side of it, and doing very well. Just moved her out there in February.
And she's a Bay High grad?
She's a Bay High grad, class of 2021.
And Braylon is getting ready to start Bay High.
She starts in the fall, so she'll be class of 2029.
Love it. Just say it one more time. You got married on March 22nd, so I know that you're still smiling pretty big about that, and that's a good thing. You know, one of the things I think sometimes it's helpful for me to explain connections, and with some of our guests, I know them better than others. I know you pretty well, and that connection, I mean, I do get to be your pastor, but also before I had the chance to be your pastor, I remember going to Bay High School where you were a teacher to speak to a group of students in a Christian club. You were the sponsor, and from that, meeting you then, I had the privilege as your pastor then to see you become the principal at Merriam Cherry Street.
Yes. And
I guess we'll just kind of tell the story, because there was a good thing. It was a tough situation.
Very tough.
It was an F school, right?
It was a D when I interviewed for it. November 2015, I interviewed for the position, and Cherry Street was a D at that time. And I started in June 2016. Officially in the job, and 3 weeks after I started, I found out we were an F, and we were one of the worst 300 schools in the state of Florida. So it was, I will be honest, I thought I heard God wrong at that moment. I thought I'd made a mistake, because I thought, what am I going to do? I'm a lifelong high school educator, did 4 years as a high school administrator, and here I've just jumped off into the deep end as an elementary school principal, and this is how I'm starting. So it was daunting. It was scary. We had 1 year that we needed to make a C or better.
There's a lot of pressure.
Or the state of Florida was going to come in and take over the school, because we got a little bit of a reprieve because they switched from FCAT to FSA testing. So they didn't count that second D year as one of the years that you had a D or F. So that F year was it. So we had to fix it, and we had to fix it fast.
And you went from an F school to what?
A B in 1 year. Yeah.
Now, I actually remember being excited for you when they called you up and you went to get some national recognition. There were, I think, just 7 schools in the country that were invited to DC to share a story about model schools back in 2019.
Yes.
Because the transformation that we saw in that school was so distinct. And I you know, we volunteered out there some. I remember being on campus and just seeing the culture that you were creating, the team that you developed around you. And it's always been something that I've believed in, because but you've always believed in it. I mean, Absolutely. Even then you talked about being a Cherry Street, you know, this is where I went to school, and all those pieces, and all the way back to Bay. And
Right.
so you had this vision.
I did.
And so then in 2019, you had the opportunity to go to Jinx Middle School.
I did. I
And
called you before I took that job too.
you did. You did, and we prayed.
We did a lot.
And that was a tough job.
That was tough. That was the toughest job I think I've ever had. That was a challenge.
So you came in there as a D school.
We did.
And you were able to earn what before you left?
We made a B. We didn't get to test our first year. That was the year of the pandemic. And so there was no testing. So we had to hold on to that D one more year, which just bothered me immensely because all the data showed that we were moving in the right direction. I felt we would test out of it our first year, and then we didn't get the chance to. So we tested to a C our second year. And then by our third year, we earned a B, and it was the first B Jinx had earned in 10 years. And 4 days later, I got the call to lead Bay High.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Those were fun days too. While you were there, I was mentoring a student, and so I would bring lunch to him and get to say hello every couple of weeks, which was neat. So then you moved to Bay High School in July of 2022. So you're in your third year at Bay, which is for you a dream job, isn't it?
It is. I prayed for this position. This is my alma mater, and all my siblings went through there, and my oldest daughter graduated from there in 2021, and my youngest will be there soon, and it's a family thing. So Bay's got my heart. I knew when I left to lead my first school that my goal was to come back as principal before I retired. It just happened sooner than I expected, but it was a blessing. So I'm enjoying it. It's been fun.
Well, I'm loving seeing you do it. I'm loving hearing the good news that comes out of it. Those of you that are listening and not getting to watch us, I know our YouTube audience is seeing it, the red live and in color. Normally we got the Good News Bay blue, right? Like I always wear blue, but today I've put on the red. I don't bleed Bay High red, but I'm married a Bay High cheerleader, and so I can certainly cheer on Bay High School. And we are, we joked a little bit in the pre-interview. Our school superintendent talks about, General McQueen talks about putting the A back in Bay. And we intend to do that as a community, to put the A back in Bay.
Absolutely.
But over at Bay High School, there's every intention of putting an A back in Bay there. And I think one of the phrases you've used a lot is that we believe.
Yep, we believe. Believe in Bay right now is our tagline. But yes, absolutely. That was the goal. I teased Mr. McQueen when he got the job that he wasn't the only one striving to put the A back in Bay. I was just trying to do it on Harrison Avenue. So, but that's the ultimate goal.
So our purpose in this podcast in particular, one is I wanted you to get a chance, for those of you that don't know the principal at Bay High, Blythe Carpenter, I want y'all to get to know her. I think it matters to know who some of these leaders are that are day in and day out giving of themselves sacrificially and trying to lead. It is a tough climate to lead in. But secondly, and I plan to do this with some other schools as well, but I wanted to give her a chance to, we're going to brag on Bay. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about some excellent, this is a good news story, talk about some excellent things happening there. And so since you've been there, you've seen an improved graduation rate in the first 2 years of 6%.
That's correct. And we expect it to go up again this year as well.
I know from just relationship with you that you keep a close eye on scores. That matters to you. Time in the classroom matters to you. You want kids when they're in class to be in class, don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They can't learn if they're not there. They got to show up. I've got such a talented group of teachers to work with those students that if they will just show up and put forth the effort, they have the teachers that can get them over the finish line, but they've got to do their part. So I'm big on that. So
one of the things that I have respected about your process, and this is not in the notes anywhere, but don't get scared. No. It's just, but as we're talking, it's something that I have long felt was really a key in your success on this journey. And it's simply that you support your teachers.
Absolutely.
And I don't just mean that you resource them, you support them in the role of being in charge in that classroom.
Absolutely.
You care about the parents, but you want the parent to be the parent. And you want to make sure that when all those kids are there, that they can learn. So, if you have a child that's disruptive, how do you handle that with parents? I mean, as far as classroom management and that kind of thing, because and I don't want to be the only one talking here, but like the whole idea of a child disrupting and causing everybody else not to listen. That's a no-go at Bay High School.
Absolutely. The student is going to be removed if they're disrupting the learning environment so the teacher can continue teaching and the other students can continue learning. They usually will face disciplinary consequences. Oftentimes it will lead to a conference or a conversation with a parent of, we need your support. Our goal is to keep your child in there so that he or she can learn as well, but we can't allow one child to disrupt the learning of 25, 26 other students in the process. And I have maintained that since I started at Cherry Street through Jenks and now at Bay. That is essential. It is essential that we keep that learning environment pristine, that we give the teachers every opportunity to work their magic and do their hard work.
Yep.
Teaching is the hardest job on the planet. And if we can help teachers by removing distractions so that they can do what they do best, everybody's going to benefit from that. And so I'm a big proponent. I lived in that world for 11 years. And what my mantra is as a principal is I want to be the principal that I would have liked to have had when I was in the classroom. That's always what drives my decisions as a school leader, is what do they need and what can I do better to help support them so they can do their job well. Because if they win, the kids win, the school wins. That's just the way it works. And so you got to have the order right. And I believe that we've established that. And I think the best part about it is it sounds, when I say it sometimes, militant. If people only knew the relationships that these people have, these educators have with these kids, how much extra they give, how much those kids come to depend on them, not just for their education, but I've got teachers that feed them every day.
Yep.
I've got teachers that have paid money for bills for these students out of their own pocket that are living independently, that have clothed them, that they care. And when the kids see that, it becomes less of a battle to win them over for the educational side.
You may have thought I forgot this, but when you gave me the tour of the brand new gym, like after the hurricane, one of the things y'all didn't have is you didn't have a gym. That was one of the big pictures that we saw all over the internet.
Right.
Is how awful that gym looked. Well, when it got rebuilt, one of the things that they put in it was big washer and dryers, right? Because you got so many kids at the time in Jenks that are part of that demographic that would not have clean clothes if the teachers didn't see to it.
Absolutely.
And so this is all part of the love that's provided. And y'all have a very diverse population at Bay High School.
We do. That's what I love about it, because we get a little bit of everything. And I think that that diversity of that, we have that high-end AICE kid, who comes more from a background like what I grew up in.
Yep.
But then we also deal with the struggling students that don't have the resources at home, don't have the support. And it runs the gamut, and you got to wear a lot of different hats, but they're all great. I mean, they're so much fun to work with.
So to make sure that I'm painting you in the proper light, people that know me know that I'm pro law enforcement. I think discipline matters. I think discipline matters in the home. I think children want security. And what I'm really trying to convey is that you provide that. And if I was a teacher, the kind of school that you're at and the kind of discipline that you demand in the classroom of the students that you love because you love them, you want them to graduate, that's what I'd want to be about.
Yes,
so I'm complimenting you on that.
Well, I appreciate that. I just, on our climate survey, when we first started at Bay, the safety aspect on the climate survey was one of the lowest marks on the climate survey when we came into Bay, and now it's one of the best. So we've conveyed that message that we're here for you, we're going to support you, and we're going to make sure that you're safe and that you have what you need. And that's felt not just through the staff, but also through the students, which I think is critical, because how can they settle in and learn if they don't feel that?
Now, one of the things that I think is important for us to point out is, like, I've seen a lot of structural change at Bay High School.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And so this is part of the good news story. Like, all the stuff that when you were there and then when my wife was there, like, those were all the same buildings. and they've been there a long time. Well, one of the benefits of having a storm come through is you got to have some stuff fixed.
Right.
And so there's 100 years of graduations that have taken place at Bay High School. Y'all celebrated that this year, didn't you?
This year, this will be our 100th graduating class coming up next month.
So it ain't a new school.
No.
No.
Been around a long time. Second longest accredited school in the state of Florida.
It's a big deal.
It is.
If you walk amongst old timers in Bay County, and if you're listening to this and you're an old timer, I'm not calling you old. But if you walk around amongst those that have been in this community a long time, many of them are from Bay High classes of old. They still get together for coffee and lunch. They still get together for their reunions. They are a group that has contributed to this community as a whole, not just that Cove area, but the community as a whole in a big way. And they still believe in Bay. I mean, I know there's still some of your biggest supporters.
They are.
But you're wanting them and their kids to be a part of Bay's future, right?
Absolutely. I want them to contribute to that legacy. I mean, it's hard to go anywhere in this community that anybody's been here for any length of time that you don't run into somebody with some connection to our high school. And I want people to realize the good that's being done there, the opportunities that are being extended. And we want to continue to keep Bay's legacy alive and move forward, built on that foundation that's already been laid. And we need that support. We need local folks
Yep.
jumping in and supporting our local schools.
Well, and so whatever people think, and people have different opinions, I suppose, about the upgrades happening on Harrison Avenue, right, in the downtown area.
Right.
It's looking really good.
We're really pleased.
I'm excited about it. But one of the things that are the first things that you see before you even get to the deeper downtown areas and see the new development and the shops and that kind of stuff, you see Bay High School.
Absolutely.
And you've got a brand new fine arts center there. You've got a brand new, even a brand newer administration building that
it's still under construction.
Still under construction?
Yes.
When will that be done?
We expect it to be finished about this time next year. There's 3 phases to the job, and the first phase was our administrative offices, and we just moved back in like in October of this school year into the admin offices. And then the first wing of classrooms, which is what we affectionately call the tornado side of the hallway. It faces the interior of the school. That's the wing they're working on currently. We expect them to finish that sometime in the next couple of months. And as soon as that's complete, they'll roll over to the 12th Street hallway and begin construction on that. And that'll take the better part of next school year to complete. So there's 3 phases to this construction. But I'm told that after that building is done, that we're done for a little while. And I'm happy about all the improvements, but I'm ready for them to move their construction tools someplace else.
You got to educate some kids, don't you?
We do, and it's tough. I mean, it's great. It's progress. It's fantastic. We love the end result, but it really it's tough living. If you've ever lived through a home renovation, magnify that by 10, and you'll probably be about where we are, because it's so much bigger when you're doing it at a school. But the end result's beautiful. I mean, I love our camp. It looks like a college campus, and that's what people comment on all the time, when they come. Actually, what's become a thing as of late is all the class reunions that come up every year for Bay High. People reach out every year asking if we can set up tours for their classes so that they can come and see the new Bay High. Yeah. And we actually have a lot of our SGA students that get volunteer hours to come up and lead those tours for those classes. So you're kind of joining the old with the new, and they get an opportunity to see all the advancements of all the buildings and technology we put in it.
Well, and I know that from time to time we have people that we're blessed enough to have folks that listen to this podcast that are either thinking about moving to Bay County. Some of them may be military families or others that have just moved here.
Right.
And so in case you hadn't put the pieces together of what I'm describing, I'm talking about a Bay High School that's got a spring of 2022 STEM building. You got a brand new fine arts building. You've got a football field that's relatively new. And it has a lot of things that it offers. And so in a world where people are wanting fine arts, you have a growing fine arts program.
We do.
In a world where technology matters, that's somewhere in that STEM building, right?
Oh, state of the art. It's crazy how advanced the technology is in the STEM building.
Yeah. So all of those things are good things. So that's all a big win. Talk to me a little bit about athletics. Y'all have made some strides in athletics in the last couple of years.
We have. So out of this is our 3rd year. The last 3 years, we've seen 2 district championships come through with our football program. And we won a district title in basketball this year. And Coach Memon, who came back to Bay High to lead the program this year, has just been named Coach of the Year for the county. So that's a big deal. But we're rebuilding the baseball program. Coach Hudson, the school that he won the state championship at in this county will remain nameless on this podcast, but
that's probably wise.
He's trying to build something special there. So I'm very pleased with the direction of our athletic programs. I think that our coaches are working hard to build their character and integrity, to do it the right way, and giving kids opportunities to play at the next level as well, which is fantastic.
So there's some things that are unique to Bay County. We love the water around here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm seeing that there's a fully sanctioned Bay High School beach volleyball team now.
There is. So that's new to Bay County in general. A lot of high schools are offering it. But we actually have our own little beach volleyball court on our campus that they built last year. And it will be fully sanctioned by FHSAA next year. But that's been a hit. There's been a lot of girls that have made that crossover into that beach volleyball format and loving it. And so it's been a lot of fun to see that come alive, and looking forward to see that take root and hopefully to remain competitive in that sport when it becomes a fully sanctioned sport next year.
So I'll make no mistake about the fact that I'm a Mosley Dolphin, okay? And so I do support the guys that are into the bass fishing stuff over there, but
Mhm.
sometimes people will see me with a fish in my hand and a hat on my head
Mhm.
that is a Bay High School hat.
It is.
It is the inshore fishing team
Yes.
for Bay High School, and I think Carter Myers has been involved with that.
He has. Yes.
Along with some others, and that's still continuing to build some momentum.
It is. We're actually working hard on our business partnerships with that. We've got some local guys that are helping us with that program to get it off the ground. Trying to get some kayaks rigged up so that we can extend those opportunities, and that's coming from Sunjammers.
Yeah. Brad's going to be so happy because I've mentioned him in several podcasts in a row.
Brad's
and so I want to have to put a
fantastic.
pin in his little toboggan there.
He is amazing. He's awesome. And then, of course, Fred Meyer's son being there. He's a big fisherman guy, and known Fred since I was a kid. We went through school together as well. So we've got good partnerships with these folks. What we're all about, honestly, what I want to do is just be able to grow more opportunities for our students. I just want to expand the programs that we have, build on them, but I also want to create new opportunities as we move forward. And this Inshore Fishing Club is just one more example of doing that.
And just for people that may be listening and not know, and I'm mentioning Carter because he's the one I know, but his dad is a nationally, if not world-renowned, red fisherman right here in Bay County.
Correct.
And Carter's fishing competitively those redfish tournaments. Then with Brad Stevens at Sunjammers, we talked on the last podcast about Chief Talamentez going offshore and catching snapper and grouper on his kayak. And so in this area, you can do some serious fishing on the saltwater side. And you've literally got sponsors that are helping you introduce these students to this stuff, which is great. I mean, isn't it better than being on an iPad or a
it's
cell phone?
So much better. And then what I didn't know until we had the big meeting back in the fall is how many scholarships are available for this sort of thing. It's almost like it's untapped market for kids to find means to go to school, which is fantastic. Anything we can do to open up more opportunities for them is really the goal.
Well, and I also, the Cove's a unique area. The yacht club's down there, and it almost would seem like you should have a sailing program at Bay High School. But now you do have a sailing program.
We do. It's new.
The students came to you and said, we want to do that.
Yeah, I get emails from the kids. They have the best ideas. They'll send me an email and we're thinking about this club. And so I'll sit down with them and hear them out and, what are your ideas? And so they came to me a couple years ago with the idea of this sailing club. And I'm like, I really like this. This is a good idea. So I told them they had to have a sponsor, which they had already, had lined up. And bottom line is I kind of turned it back over to them and said, take it and run with it. And they have, and they've done such a good job of creating an interest in that, creating opportunities to get kids out on the water that maybe otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity. So you've got the ones that are kind of seasoned and grew up doing it, introducing it to people who've never done it, which is what it's all about, because we run both ends of the spectrum at our school. We have kids who've had those opportunities their entire lives, and then we've had ones that have never had that opportunity. So I love creating opportunities like this with clubs and sports that give these kids the chance.
Well, and I can also tell you, I hope this comes out humorously, but as somebody who's on the water sometimes, it's nice to meet other grown adults that have had an experience before they're grown adults, because sometimes you meet people on the water that don't have a clue what they're doing. And if they'd had a little bit of experience in high school, it would have helped some. You know what I mean?
And that's the other piece to that club that we talked about, is an education side.
Yeah, it's great.
So that'll make you fishermen out on the water.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get in a fight at the boat ramp, but I've seen it happen, Yeah. So the theater program's doing great. I want us to spend a significant amount of time talking about the AICE program.
Yes.
That is an academic program, and it is a kind of a flagship program for Bay High School. Talk about that a little bit.
So we were the first school in the United States to offer the AICE program. It's in conjunction with Cambridge University, so it is an international program. What's fantastic about it is that kids who graduate with the AICE diploma, regardless of ACT or SAT scores, if they have that AICE diploma, they receive 100% Bright Futures in the state of Florida, which means they go to school 100% for free. My oldest daughter, class of 2021, AICE graduated in 3 years instead of 4, and I never wrote a tuition check in 3 years. It's real. And 9 out of 10 on average in our AICE program graduates with the diploma. So it's real. It's attainable. I love the fact that it opens the door for our students. It helps families. It breaks down barriers of the financial aspects so that kids have the opportunity to pursue post-secondary education for free. as far as tuition is concerned. And so I've been on it on the teacher side, I've been on it on the principal side, but I've also been in on the parent side, and it's a real thing. And I love the fact that we can create those opportunities for students. So the other aspect that I want to mention, though, is that every AICE class where they receive credit, regardless of whether they stay in Florida, so if they're moving because they're military or mom and dad gets a job somewhere else, every AICE credit they earn travels with them. Like, it is recognized all over the country, and they'll be able to take any of those AICE credits that they earn with them wherever they go, and it will count toward college credit for them. So it still is beneficial, even if they don't stay and complete the diploma.
Right.
They still have the opportunity to take whatever they've earned here with them wherever they go next.
So even if they don't go to a state school, although the Bright Futures would get them full tuition at a state college, you'd mentioned before in the pre-interview that a lot of the private colleges will still accept those credits.
Absolutely. My best friend's son, classic example, went to Southeastern, and they took every AICE credit he had.
It's a big deal.
It is a huge deal. So that they transfer well, and it gives the kids opportunities to earn their bachelor's degrees in less time. So if they have a desire to stay on and start graduate school, they can absolutely do that. Or it gets them into the workforce a little bit sooner, which is exactly what my child did when she finished. I mean, once she completed her bachelor's degree, she went right into the workforce.
You indicated that you've got some military families that have children that are a part of the school, and because of this program, you've actually had families that, even though they would get maybe the husband or the one part of the family would get stationed somewhere else, the other parent would stay so they could finish the AICE program.
We've had multiple examples of that. Mom or dad gets orders. That's the end of their junior year. Their child's on track for the AICE diploma. They don't want to miss out on the opportunity that's going to create for their child.
It's big money.
So they stay back one more year, and then mom or dad, whichever one the case may be, moves to be with the other parent. The child can stay in the state of Florida and claim in-state tuition and be able to go to a school in Florida, and then they have 100% bright futures because they stayed here to go to school. So I've seen that happen multiple times. So it's a big deal. Families make sacrifices for those in those situations to make sure that their children have that opportunity. So it's a big deal.
There's been a lot of emphasis in at least the last 3 years, probably even beyond that, related to the local school district. And we truly, as a community, have embraced, I think I can say this for the whole community, like the business side of it, the academic side. We want to have an academic setting that is ideal for students that are moving to this community and students that are already in this community. We know that it has needed to get better, and we believe it is getting better.
It is.
And so we're changing that MO, and this is a part of that. And so I wanted to be able to say to parents that are moving to the community looking for some options that are viable options, this is one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have the opportunity to talk to you and your family.
You got to academically qualify for the AICE program, but it's a state-of-the-art program.
It is. It is.
So it's also informative for people to know that at this point in the spring, that while you guys are going up in enrollment, which is great. I mean, people are buying into the vision that you've got. At the same time, with school choice, even if they're not zoned for Bay High School, they can choose to have their student go to Bay High School.
They can. And again, if they're interested in that, it's as simple as contacting our school and just asking the questions. And if they think their child may qualify for AICE, we can put them in touch with our AICE coordinator, Marlene Bland, and she holds private meetings and personal tours all the time to introduce folks to our school community and walk them around and tell them all about our AICE program and see if this is a good fit. And we've won a lot of families that way. I mean, we'll roll out the red carpet, literally and figuratively, to show them everything we have to offer. I mean, we believe in this program, and we.
Are you saying a red carpet's better than any other color carpet? Is that what you're saying?
You said that. I just won't dispute it. So
that's funny. Okay, let's talk just for a little bit about certifications. Y'all got many of our high schools have different certification programs, and you guys have some as well. I know that the culinary side of it was pretty neat to me to see, like when you had your wedding, you had the culinary team come. You're like at Bay High School, come do the food for your wedding.
It was really important to Ty and I that we were able to bring Bay High School as a part, because I love the school, as to be part of that special day. So not only did he propose to me in my office at Bay High, I don't think you knew that.
Smart guy, did not know that.
He did, and we talked about it, and I really wanted the culinary students to cater the event, and so they did. They made everything from the hors d'oeuvres to the main entrees to the wedding cake, and everything was phenomenal, and everybody was so blown away and impressed that because not only did they help prepare it, he had 6 students working the event. So I actually had 6 Bay High culinary students at my wedding working the event and serving our guest. And it was a special moment. And I'm so grateful that we were able to tie that back in. And it's a great experience for the kids because that's what we're working them toward. We want them to get these industry certifications so that they have more opportunities to do this when they leave us.
I didn't know, like, it makes me think that this is more than a job to you. It makes it seem like it's a calling.
It's an absolute calling. I love Bay High.
So another thing that I wanted to mention was the graphic design certification. Y'all are doing some unique things with that because these kids are learning how to do the graphic design. They're learning how to make T-shirts and hats and those kind of things. Not only could they get a job later doing that, but I want to tell some small business owners out there, one of the ways that you could support Bay High School and these students, if you're needing some hats made or some T-shirts made, they can do that for you, right?
Absolutely. Logan Flint is our sponsor for that. Background for graphic design, very gifted artist. Logan was a few years ahead of me at Bay, but we're both Bay High graduates. Go back.
He bleeds red.
Both went through Bay High together and Cove Kids, and go back a ways. Love Logan. He's doing a great job with that program. He came to me with the idea last year. We sat down, went over it. We got him, certified under the CTE umbrella for it, and he's launched this program. And so we're in its 2nd year of existence right now. So it's still in its infancy stages, but we would like to grow it where it becomes more of a moneymaker, so that we can extend more opportunities from in-house, because we'll be able to infuse those dollars back in to that program, and then we'll be able to expand even further because of that. So yeah, we're all about not only doing stuff in-house at a cheaper cost for our programs at the school level, but also from a community standpoint, how neat would it be for us to be able to create those products for local businesses and so forth, and them to tell the community and their customers, hey, the students at Bay High did this. I mean, same thing we've done with all our graphics for AICE. I mean, our media studies class created all of that. Every handout we give for our AICE recruitment, our kids generated that. They made that. They made the videos. They made the pamphlets. So they're doing more and more of that. It's pretty neat.
So that's awesome, and I hope some people take advantage of that. Maybe we can put some links in the show notes or something that tell them how to get in touch if they want to do that. I also think it's interesting because your school, you do your very best to represent and to provide resources for every segment of the community that comes to your school.
Yes.
And that is a variation from Cove Kids. There's some that come from a more disadvantaged background that don't have as much finances or something or to that effect. And so they don't all have the same resources.
Correct.
And so we were talking about something like, I think it's Grad Bash.
It is.
I went to that, but it's been a few minutes. And so y'all had close to 250 students that graduated?
We got about 260 in this class.
And how many of those were able to go to Grad Bash?
25 this year.
What is the main reason keeping more students from going to Grad Bash?
The rising cost of it. Just the charter bus alone is right around $10,000. So
I know that because of what we have to spend to send kids to youth camp.
Yes.
Buses are expensive.
They are very expensive.
But the bottom line is that there is not a budget for that.
No.
And so if these kids want to go to this trip, they have to come up with the funding for that. And so if they didn't have to pay for a bus, for instance, the cost of that would go down several $100s for each student.
It would substantially drive the cost down, just removing just that barrier.
And I don't know how to make this happen. Like, I'm just talking to you out loud and letting some of our people know that this is kind of a thing, that there are kids that are graduating in greater numbers than they have before. They're excelling and doing great things. Some of your students, I learned this when we were involved with some of the elementary schools. Like, I grew up going to the beach. There are kids in this community that never go across that Hathaway Bridge.
Never seen the beach.
Never seen the beach. And so the kind of experience that some of these kids could get from getting to go to a senior trip that's supervised, where good things happen, could be pretty exceptional.
It's pretty awesome.
And so I think it was at least worth mentioning, because there may be people that are a part of the heritage or history You've got some great community partners. I'm not going to mention them because they don't want to be mentioned.
Right.
That have been extremely generous.
They've been amazing.
But there's some others, perhaps knowing that there's a need that they can tangibly help in a way the dollars would be spent well. And then you also mentioned, I'm just going to keep throwing stuff out there.
Please do.
Sponsors for lots of these things, whether it's the fishing club or it is another initiative. Sometimes you have, like, even between now and graduation, I asked you if there's certain needs at this moment, and you said there's kids probably that don't have their graduation dues paid.
Correct. Yeah, just so it can be at any level. We could always use help. One of the things that I vowed to do when I became a school leader, I wanted to be a great steward of any resources that were given to me for my benefit of my students, and I'm always trying to kind of match that up. And so, if anything that anybody wants to contribute or do, we will make sure that it gets where you want it to go. I personally sit down and write out a thank you card to everybody that does something like that, because I think it matters. It's about relationships. It's about building that community, because we're all in it for the kids. We want to see that happen for them. But if you desire to get involved or do something to support our school, you can do it from any level. You don't have to have a ton of money to make a big difference. A senior dues paid for a kid who doesn't have it, I've seen them cry. So it's a big deal. It matters. And so we'll be a good steward of whatever it is you ask us to do with those dollars, but you're changing lives and you're making a difference for kids when you do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I believe in what you're doing. I think there are some really good things happening in Bay District schools, and I believe that Bay High School is a part of that.
We do too. Thank you.
I'm a big fan of the tornado. Can I even say that?
Sure. Christi will be so
happy.
I
am. We've talked about the history and tradition at Bay High School, but we also believe, in addition to that rich history and tradition, that there's a great future still at Bay High School.
Absolutely.
And so I joked with you, but I'm serious about it. We believe the best is yet to come at Bay.
I believe that as well. That's why we're there.
Let me end on a light note, okay?
Okay.
You like the water?
I love the water.
You like the beach?
I love the beach.
I know you like you some Florida Gators, don't you?
I absolutely love my Florida Gators.
Oh, they just won a national championship. You've been known to watch a baseball game here and there.
I have. Going to a softball game here in a few weeks. I love all things University of Florida. Yeah.
So if you want to know what she does in her free time, those are just a few of those things. Listen, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been great. I appreciate it. Any chance I have to brag on Bay High is a good day.
Hey, let's go put the A back in Bay.
Let's do it.